Welcome back all. Right in front of me, there is a small mountain of gear because tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. I'm heading off on the Bonneville on what I think will be probably a 6-day trip south to a paradise island. So I've got all of my gear and I need to try and decide how much of my essential gear I can actually fit into my panniers. The panniers will dictate everything, how much I can take. So as soon as I'm finished filming here, I'm getting to work, desperately cramming everything in and seeing what I can take. So excited. Thank you as ever, everyone, for getting in touch, sharing your thoughts and opinions. It's colossally appreciated. The best place to do so, comment section below. And if you've got a longer story made with some pictures, you can email hi@tuesdayatdobbs.com. This week we begin with grab one while you can. This is a bike that, maybe I'm pushing it too much, could get legendary status one day. These are just bikes that are really well respected by people. The owners love them, people that don't own them, they consider buying them. Just every so often a bike comes along that grabs the attention of a gigantic chunk of the biking population, and I really think this is one of these utilitarian dreams of a bike. The Royal Enfield Scram 411. Going on from last week's video, Grumpy Sprout, he said, Freddie, no. Going on from you saying there's a 440 Scram coming to Europe, there won't be. 440 Scrams in the UK, according to Royal Enfield, are not coming here due to emissions laws. That's from Grumpy Sprout. So don't listen to what I said yesterday or last week when I said the Scram 440 may come over and leave Indian shores and make its way to other markets. Everyone seems to think that is definitely not going to happen. But what that does mean, Scram 411, iconic motorcycle. There's some good news on that. I have found Scram 411s brand new. Bear in mind, I think these may be limited, so if you want one genuinely, you have to go and grab one. From motogb.co.uk, that's the UK distributor. Brand new, £3,699. That is a staggeringly good deal. That's £1,200 off the original retail price for such a good, capable, characterful bike. Get it while you can, because if they've only got a few left at that price, I cannot see how there's any way they're going to stick around. On now to how much is too much. This is one of my favourite conversations and one of the conversations I get most animated about. This is from Soundwave Shadow, somewhere in Europe. Apologies, I didn't get your exact location. Freddie, quick question. How many kilometres on a bike is too much? I've got a Yamaha Tenere with 71,000 kilometres. I took it to get a service and the mechanic said I should be getting a new bike. Even though it's running perfectly and I don't really want another bike, the mechanic just said the kilometres are really high. I never get this. I don't understand it. Come on, 71,000 kilometres on the clock. That's about 40,000 miles. Why in the biking industry do we assume that 30,000 miles is somehow inexplicably high mileage for a motorbike? I have never had, any car or motorbike, bar a useless smart car that I'm going to forget I ever owned. I've never had a vehicle, and I've been riding and driving for 21 years, hundreds of thousands of miles. Never had one where the engine's broken. Never had one where a mechanic said, sorry, that's it, the engine's failed, let's move on. I don't understand why we've got such a throwaway mentality, and this is coming from a mechanic. Clearly, there's going to be nothing wrong with a Tenere with 40,000 miles on the clock. Clearly, because of this mentality, I always, immediately, whatever vehicle I want, apart from the Bonneville admittedly, I always go for the highest mileage model I possibly can. The Fiat's got 230,000 miles, the Jeep's got 138,000 miles, the Bonneville now close to 50,000 miles. My last two cars over 165,000 miles, a Jag XK and a Honda Accord. None of them have ever had any issues at all. I don't get it. What am I going to do now? I'm going to show you something here that best demonstrates this. Go on to Auto Trader. Type in a bike with one of the finest reputations for longevity and reliability, maybe that's ever been made, the Honda NC750X. countless examples go over 100,000 miles and they don't even miss a beat. These bikes will last forever. But I'm going to now show you a perfect example of why, for some reason, mileage is so important to so many people. The first one is a Honda NC750X with one former owner. This is the manual variant, and it's for sale for £3,790. Okay, I'm going to keep that on the screen now. If you want, in essence, exactly the same bike, still a manual, it's 2018 model, but it makes no difference at all. And it's got 5,000 miles on the clock. So for that saving of 27,000 miles, you have to pay an extra £1,600 for exactly the same bike. Personally, for me, I would rather the higher mileage bike because I want to buy a vehicle that I know has been a trusted mode of transport for owners. If a vehicle has done high mileage, it means that it's been trusted throughout its lifetime. If a vehicle has done tiny mileage, I start getting suspicious and thinking, why has someone bought this vehicle and not used it? Do you not trust it enough to use it? I'm a ridiculously strong believer in all vehicles, regardless cars or motorbikes. All vehicles are far, far happier being used. No vehicles like being tucked up for months at a time. They enjoy being used. It's like a pet dog. It enjoys being taken out for a walk. They don't like being cooped up inside. There, rant over, but thank you for sending that over, Soundwaves. Exactly my point. Bikes will last a lifetime. Why would they not? You just have to keep up with the maintenance. If it goes wrong, you fix it. Throwaway society. We've got to reuse. I like that. Plus, I love higher mileage vehicles because they have a story. They've got some soul about them. Moving on. I almost forgot about this. I got this ready yesterday and I forgot until now. The 90-year-old Brough motorcycle. This was probably from 2 weeks ago now, where Ashley got in touch with me and he said that he'd unearthed these pictures of his granddad from the 1930s, 40s and 50s with his different motorbikes. One's a Norton, one's a Triumph, and one is a Brough Superior. Ashley said he would love to try and find the owners of these motorcycles to, in some way, reconnect and put pieces of a puzzle together. So I put this picture of Ashley's mum in the 1950s in Leicester, England up, and I said, if anyone has any information, where is this Brough motorcycle? Because it's still on the road somewhere. Please let me know. A few days ago, I was contacted by James. Take a listen to this email that James sent me. Freddie, referring to your Tuesday at Dobbs a few weeks ago, you talked about Ashley looking to trace his grandfather's Brough Superior. Registration, CWL750. Now, I'm a member of a little motorcycle gang, the Random Bikers, based out of the beautiful, I love this place, Walberswick in Suffolk, England. We're an eclectic bunch of guys riding all sorts of motorbikes from the Brough Superior, very early Moto Guzzi's, BMW, Ducati, Hondas. Anyway, I spoke to Steve Knight about you trying to track down the 1936 Brough SS80, pictured in black and white. Steve owns a couple of Broughs, and he came back to me with this. The SS80 was sold at auction in 2023 to a gentleman called Doug from Alabama, a long way away. It appears to me the bike was shipped over to the USA, to Alabama, but data protection nonsense means that the club can't release his details, but he can be contacted by Facebook. And he posted on the Brough Riders Facebook page the attached pictures about a year and a half ago when the bike finally made it over from England to the USA. This is the best bit about it. Look at this old black and white picture from the 1950s. This was taken of Ashley's mum on the Brough. Look at the number plate, 750 there from 80 years ago. And seeing it there, Facebook, the same bike with that same 750 number plate. Apparently this bike had been off the road for 60 years. So what happened to it in that 60-year period? But it's just the fact that we can trace this bike back and seeing that number plate there. And now over in Alabama, the same bike, connecting the very start of the Brough's life to 90 years later. If the owner of that Brough over in Alabama somehow watches this or someone passes this on to him, please send me a video of your Brough running. I would love to post a video here over the top of that black and white picture connecting the story of that motorcycle. I love stuff like that. And it goes with what I've been saying. Age of bikes, mileage of bikes, it just adds to the story behind the vehicle. James, thank you so much for sending that over. That's phenomenal. I was jaw dropped when I was reading it. On now to less is more. Freddie, with reference to my comment regarding saving between 20 and 30 kilos off the weight of a bike, I've done a theoretical exercise, and here are my findings using claimed figures from manufacturers and some estimated weights where I couldn't really find the specific information. So this is what you can do to the weight saving. Exhaust system 2-into-1 from Tech and S&S. 13 kilo saving if you just change the exhaust. And this is for an Interceptor, but of course this is the same principle with all bikes. Stock battery, replace it with a lithium ion battery. And just the battery you can save 3.4 kilos. Then you can remove the center stand, that's 3.5 kilos. Remove the grab rail, 1.5 kilos. Get an aluminium rear sprocket, that's a ½ kilo saving, and that gives all of that a total saving of 21.9 kilos so far. After that, admittedly, the budget, from Mike's opinion, starts to get a little bit stretched. But if you do want to go further, you can carry on. Tubeless spoked wheel from HPS. The price does vary depending upon what you have, but it will cost about £1,200, but you're going to save 2 kilos per wheel in weight. So there's another 4 kilos saved. And we're right up now to 26 kilos in saving. You can get more from changing the 1.5 kilo headlight for a non-standard custom. Then you can change brakes, brackets, tail tidy for lightweight customs, etc., etc. Basically, there's no limit to what you can do. And I can see how this would get quite addictive, trying to shave off fractions of kilos and kilos here or there. But just wrapping up from Mike, I hope this is interesting to you and other viewers. It was fun for me, and I may do some or all of these if space and funds allow in the future. It allows for building yourself something unique to your own tastes, and it would be very rewarding from Mike. Mike, that is a colossal amount of weight to save. 26 kilos, you turn what is a heavy-ish bike at 217 kilos for the Interceptor, 202 kilos with no fuel dry weight. But you turn that into, very comfortably, a sub 200 kilo bike. Even fully fueled, it's going to be 190 kilos. That's a colossal difference. That's borderline transformative for the bike to save that much. It's well over a 10% weight saving. You don't even have to do that much work to achieve it. There is one interesting point, Mike, you brought up that I wanted to go into a little more. Lithium batteries. A lot of people say these are just superb for saving space and saving weight. Some people then say, look, if your bike wasn't designed to have a lithium battery from you, don't bother, it will mess up the electrics. So I'm not exactly sure where this sits, the truth and the reality. But let me just read out a few bits of this because I don't see any negatives here. A lithium motorcycle battery, £58. So first of all, the price is extremely reasonable. Guaranteed next day delivery. Advantages of lithium batteries. You've got higher starting power due to low internal resistance. You've got a 70% weight saving. Built-in LED indicator to test battery. Same shape and size as the original battery, so simple to fit. No capacity loss over the lifetime. Super fast charging time. The battery can absorb more quickly charging amperes due to low internal resistance. It's safe, it cannot explode, no maintenance required, no pollution, kinder to the environment. And it weighs half a kilo. So what's the negative? Genuine question, why aren't we all replacing our antiquated, ridiculously heavy batteries with lithium ion batteries? I'd be so interested to know who's changed and it's been a success, who's changed to a lithium ion battery and it's been a disaster, if that's even a thing, because from what I see here, There are only huge positives and no negatives. I'll share your thoughts on that next week. On now to Steve, Freddie, quick one. I've got a Royal Enfield 350 Classic and I love it, but I've just got a new contract for 4 to 5 months and I have to commute every day from South London to East Kent. That's going to be a 70-mile round trip with motorways and slower speeds. So what do I need? A comfy 500cc plus, ULEZ compliant, that's the low emission zone compliant zone in London, for around £2,500. I was thinking Honda Deauville. I'm 52, by the way. I don't need to impress anyone. It will only be used for the commuting and then sold at the end of the contract. What are your thoughts? I need wind protection and a top box. Steve. Steve, let's take a look. Continuing, Steve, with the same vein of high mileage motorcycles, I want to see if I can find you something interesting here. This is a contract just for a few months, so you do not want to tie up too much money here on a bike that you've happily admitted yourself is just a tool for the job. It's a means of transport, no more than that. So tying up excess money for this next couple of months, it doesn't make too much sense. So what I want to try and do for you, Steve, is find the cheapest, most reliable bike that will tick every box from a practicality point of view here. And the cheaper the bike, of course, the less chance there is of you losing any money in depreciation. If I start here, Auto Trader, and I put in motorbikes over 60,000 miles, okay, I want to find you a high mileage motorcycle. You will have no surprise here to guess that the first one that comes up is a Honda CB500. Next one, incredibly, is a Piaggio. Honda Vision. I mean, look at this. It's just a testament to Honda build quality. Another Honda after that, and here's the interesting one. Honda Deauville. Steve, this looks good. 65,000 miles on the clock. A bike thought of by many to be so dull, they've nicknamed it the Honda Deauville, but that doesn't matter. I like bikes like this because it's a proper, simple mode of transport. It's a bike built to do what it needs to do, and that is be an everyday commuter. Look, I'm not going to look at it and say, you know what, it looks okay. This is not a looker of a bike, but it's got the panniers that you need, Steve. Like you said, it's got the front wind protection, and take a look at what the owner says. This is exactly who you want to buy it from. First of all, you're not buying it from a motorbike dealer, and because I want to try and save you as much money as possible, because you know you're going to be selling it in a few months, ideally you'll probably buy privately because you'll have to pay a bit extra for a dealer price, and knowing you want to sell it on after, you could end up losing a bit of money in between that. So probably a private seller in this situation I think is best. The seller states, unfortunately, I'm going to be selling my 650. As much as I love this bike, I'm finding myself having to let it go as I just can't justify a bike I don't ride. 2004 model, 65,000 miles on the clock, 2 keys, MOT till December, not in the best cosmetic condition. Doesn't matter at all, it's fine, it's a commuter. No service history. Doesn't matter, it's a Honda. However, I've changed the oil, filter, pump, second-hand one, shaft oil, fitted heated grips, new battery, now spent £600 to get it through its MOT. It will always have a special place in my heart. You're buying it from someone who loves the bike, and it's £850. And the seller said at the bottom, open to offers. So Steve, if you can get that, can you get that for £700? It's a Deauville. Ruggedness is built into their DNA. And if you get that for £700, my guess is that you're not going to have any difficulty at all in 3 months' time, regardless of how much mileage you put on it, selling that again for exactly the same price. So in essence, apart from putting fuel in it, it's free motoring. Steve, let me know what you go for. Oh, I tell you what I'll do, Steve. Let me just show you this. I'll show you a few of the bikes. 60,000 miles and over, because this tells us the really reliable motorcycles. Very quickly, Honda Deauville, of course, Yamaha Diversion, 70,000 miles, another Honda CBR 600F Super Sports with 98,000 miles on the clock. Another one, Suzuki, come on, that can't be true, Suzuki Bandit with 125,000. Maybe it is true. Look at this, Honda Blackbird. I had a look earlier, there are about 3 of these Blackbirds. And below the Blackbird is it's just ridiculous. It's just like a list of Hondas, CBF 1000. The most impressive thing for me, these Honda Blackbirds, they're hyper bikes, so they were in their time, ridiculous levels of power and performance. But you get the same reliability as a commuter bike or as a Nissan Micra car. So few vehicles in history have managed to have supersonic performance and the reliability of the simplest of vehicles. Yet Honda with the Blackbird managed both. That is an incredible achievement. I think there are 3 Blackbirds there with over 60,000 miles on the clock here on Auto Trader. And for such a performance machine, that's incredible. Steve, thank you so much. And moving on now to Paul. Freddie, I just bought a bargain bike. It's a Honda CB500X. 2016 model with just 22,000 kilometers on the clock. That's about, in fact, I think that's about 14,000 miles for 6,000 Australian dollars. That's about 3,000 British pounds. But wait, there is more. It came with a UK Rally Raid kit level 2, which includes wire wheels, suspension upgrades, bash plate crash bars, 2-inch lift, front guard, off-road pegs and fat bars with new triple clamps, rear rack. That's over 5,000 British pounds spent on it. You should look up and look into the UK company Rally Raid products. The CB500X upgrades are still going with the 2024 models, etc. It's the bike Honda should have built to bring it to the CF Moto 450 and Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. Paul, I know of these Rally Raid products. This is, like you said, a British company. And what they do, in short, is they transform, I think they've got a couple of models, but they transform the Honda CB500X into a fairly tame adventure bike, probably more on the road side of things. They transform it into a proper focused machine that can take on pretty much any terrain. It's not cheap, the gear they make, but it's meant to be extremely good quality. They've built up a very good reputation. So if you want a motorbike for people in the know, you're not going to get a lot of people searching for these bikes. Try typing in every so often, Honda CB500X Rally Raid. That last bit, the Rally Raid, is key because you may well come across a bargain where someone has fitted an entire suite of Rally Raid products, transforming the CB500X. But if you don't know, if you're not up to speed with this kind of stuff in this sector of motorcycling, the Rally Raid stuff, it will mean nothing to you at all, and it will increase the price, in your mind at least, not 1 penny. But if you know, the savings can be fantastic and you can get such a unique motorcycle. Paul, first of all, yours looks brilliant. I love the look of it. And inspired by that, I have found one in the UK. I'm not going to lie to you, Paul, this is nowhere near the phenomenal deal that you got at £3,000, which is the deal of a lifetime. I managed to find one. And I can't believe I actually found one here. £4,500 for 2017 model. This here, take a look, CB500X Rally Raid Edition. This is a really interesting bike here. You can see those wire wheels, the pipe on there, and the other bits may not be as obvious. You can see the crash plate as well. But this is a limited edition CB500X with Rally Raid pack. The first owner of this motorcycle was Rally Raid Limited. So I think this is one of Rally Raid's first ever press bikes, marketing bikes, to show, look, this is what we can do. This is how good our products are. We're going to put everything on to this CB500X, and we're going to demonstrate to the world the transformation our parts make to a bike. So this is a really special bike. They've got the full list of stuff there. The front wheel, the rear wheel, the high suspension, reactive off-road front springs, preload adjusters, fully adjustable tractive rear shock, high-rise fork yoke, rear rack, scorpion exhaust, stainless steel off-road foot pegs, engine guards, radiator guards, extended side stand, sockets for 12-volt plug, USB, heated grips, top box, 2 keys, 12 months. MOT. £4,500, which of course initially looking is quite expensive, but then you see that this will have had thousands of pounds spent on it. I think that makes quite an interesting proposition of a bike, and certainly that will be extremely capable. Paul, thank you. On now to Bike of the Week. Who is interested in a motorcycle so appallingly bad it bankrupt a company? Anyone? No? Okay, I'm going to tell you about it anyway. This is from Christopher. Freddie, I thought I'd remind you about the Bimota V-Due. The bike I wanted to buy if I won the lottery. However, I won't give the game away. Do your research and I think you'll be surprised. Please let us know what you think. Christopher, I had a lot of fun looking into this bike. This does sound like one of the worst reviewed bikes I have ever heard of in my life. It was such a sales flop and a mechanical failure that the Bimota was no more just a couple of years after the launch of this bike. Let's take a look at it. The Bimota V-Due 500. V-Due 500, made from 1997 to 1998 initially, and somehow it managed to just about crawl along until 2000, if my research is correct. It had a weight of 147 kilos, so ridiculously lightweight, and it's got a horsepower rating of 100 fiery Italian horses. MCN say this about the Bimota: only in Italy could someone bet the company's future on a complex, high-tech, ridiculously expensive two-stroke, which couldn't compete with a 1000cc superbike of the time. The gamble was taken by Bimota in 1997 when, after 8 years of development, the V-Due 500cc two-stroke appeared. And it was almost universally slated as rough-running, not particularly fast, oddball motorcycle for rich posers. Oh dear. So going back a bit, Bimota, Italian company founded in 1973, initially founded as an aftermarket supplier for chassis if you wanted something really focused for racing. Bimota built up a very strong reputation for chassis building expertise. There were artists within their field. In 1990, they decided to start developing their very own engine, a 500cc two-stroke V-twin with 100 horsepower. The problem is, Bimota decided to build this two-stroke engine when two-strokes were going out of fashion, and with all of the emissions regulations coming in, for example in the USA, the US had almost forced two-stroke engines into a place where they were almost extinct. So this was the current climate around motorcycling. Really unfashionable engine setup with that two-stroke, yet Bimota full steam ahead to build a two-stroke sports bike. This immediately sounds like a recipe for disaster. But here it was, the Bimota V-Due was born, and the chassis was predictably excellent. It got rave reviews for the setup of the bike, the handling of the bike. Absolutely exquisite by all accounts. The problems were absolutely everything else. Glorious chassis, but everything else about the bike was beyond awful. So bad were the engines that Bimota had to buy back their bikes from customers after an endless list of failures. MC News Australia say this: the factory, Bimota, was forced to buy back many of the first 185 examples built in 1997 and 1998. Then, after that, Bimota decided to halve production and somehow continue with development. Next up, I'm going to read you the MCN Reliability Review. This is from their review where MCN gave it 3 out of 5 as an overall rating. But this is the bit that really stands out here. Reliability and build quality. 1 out of 5 stars. Nearly everybody who bought a Bimota V-Due seemed to take it back and demand a refund at some point in the late 1990s. The trick upper cylinder lube system didn't work effectively, and the fuel injection rarely played ball below 5,000 revs. Body parts were rumoured to crack. Oh lordy, the motorcycle was such a warranty and PR disaster, it more or less sank Bimota financially. So I know what you're thinking. This is going to be the bargain of the century motorbike. This is going to be a quirky way for me to get into Italian motorcycle ownership. It's got a proper history here. So hold on, let me see what bargains I can find you. Bimota V-Due. First up, I find one in the USA. Iconic Motorbike Auctions. This is an auction from 4 years ago. This bike, this shocked me, sold for £35,845. This was the first bike I had a look at. First of all, it's an auction, so it's sold for that. So we know 100% that 4 years ago, this bike was worth $36,000. It's a nice looking bike, especially when that engine's covered to try and blank out the fact that that will destroy you financially. But the bodywork, the silhouette of the bike is lovely. So then I tried to find some B-motors that are currently for sale. I couldn't find one in the UK. So I went to the parking-motorcycle.co.uk. This is where they share lots of vehicles, motorbikes from around Europe. And here you can find them. Bimota in France, V-Due for £24,000. Another one here, another one for £45,000. Another one for sale, £45,000. Okay, so that is 2, maybe 3 currently for sale right now. These are insanely rare bikes. And of course they're rare because they were so appalling, no one wanted them. But that limited production run and the fact that Bimota had to buy most of them back because they were so bad means that there are almost none available. So if you want one, you have to spend some colossal money on that. I hope I've done a good sales pitch here. One of maybe the worst bikes to have come out of Italy, and it's also a colossal amount of money, and there's no way you'd want to ride it because it's too unreliable. And if you do end up riding it and it breaks down, there probably won't be any parts to replace it with. So what you're buying here is a £24,000 living room ornament. It's good, isn't it? Pleasure. I always like giving good, solid advice for the masses, so we'll end it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Have a brilliant week all, and I'll see you all next week abroad. I don't want to give too much away yet. I'll see you abroad next week.